Hi, everybody. This is SAAD for the SAAD Truth. Sunday afternoon. Thought that I would take a break, but of course I can't because the tsunami of lunacy never takes a break. It always smashes against the shores of your sanity. So the following article came across my desk yesterday. It's titled 100 Easy Ways to Make Women's Lives More Bearable. We've got more if you need them. So there's 100 prescriptions, if you'd like, or edicts or requests, to put it more mildly, of how men should stop being idiots and make the lives of women more bearable. By the way, this is from broadlyvice.com, which I'm assuming is a intersectional feminist site. Most of the positions that are taken in the 100 prescriptions is very much what would be taught in a women's studies program or an intersectional course, in an identity politics class, in a critical race theory course, in a disabilities studies course. So all of the collective Munchausen, the I'm a victim, therefore I am ethos is perfectly captured here. I won't go through all 100. I've highlighted some that I thought were ones that I might want to weigh in, and I didn't prepare any comments, so I'm just going off the cuff here. Number one, before explaining something to a woman, ask yourself if she might already understand. She may know more about it than you do. So there you go. Don't presume that you know more than women, which of course might make the dynamics of professor-student interactions a bit more delicate, because when I'm up in front of the class lecturing, I typically presume that the material that I'm lecturing on, I might know more about it than the students, whether they be male, female, non-gendered, non-binary, non-gendered, otherkin. But I should not make that presumption, especially if it is in interacting with women. Number two, related, never ever try to explain feminism to a woman. Because I've written a lot of stuff on feminism, and I am cis-normative male, and I do identify as male, so clearly I'm in violation of that one. So got it. Never weigh in on feminism. It is a forbidden thing. Got it. Number three is a very good one. Trans women are women. Repeat that until you perish. Well, I've internalized that because now I realize that, number one, I've already apologized for my transphobic cis-sexist marriage. I was always going on the assumption as a heterosexual male that my prospective wife would be a woman who has a vagina, because I thought, we'd then end up having children and so on through, the heterosexist practice of heterosexual mating. I now realize that was ridiculous. It would have been much more appropriate for me to, if you like, open up the field to both women who have vaginas, women who have 9-inch penises. And so I must apologize for that. I truly do feel bad that I didn't open up the playing field to women with 9-inch penises. But the good news is that my wife has since told me that she self-identifies as a man, and therefore I'm happy to report that I'm gay, and we are in a same-sex union. So hopefully I get back some of the points that I lost for being cis-sexist. Respect people's pronouns. It's not hard. That's number 4. Jordan Peterson, do you hear it? Just respect people's pronouns, you bigot. Number 5, remember that fat women exist and aren't all trying to get thin. Treat them with respect. Okay. As a person of size, I can appreciate that. Although my size is going down a lot, if you notice. I'm looking much trimmer these days. Number 6, in fact, just never comment on a woman's body. Never. You're having sex with a woman and you want to say something in the heat of the moment about how beautiful her body is. Don't. Only comment about her personality. Number 8, trust women. When they teach you something, don't feel the need to go and check for yourself. And especially do not Google it in front of them. A woman tells you something, by virtue of her being a woman, she is right. Internalize that, learn that, and move on. Women's positions should never be questioned. Number 9, don't maintain a double standard for anything ever. Absolutely. This is why, as my children grow up, I will teach them to both equally engage in unrestrained sexuality. I will teach them both that they should go to frat houses with drunken 20-year-old testosterone-fueled boys, and they are both equally likely to be victimized. There are absolutely no realities where the dynamics of Homo sapiens makes it that there might be learning lessons that are different for men and women. Of course, I now know that this whole idea of male and female is, fixed binaries and biological essentialism. So I will treat my children as though they are indistinguishable when it comes to their sex. Number 10 is a very important one, and it's so important that it's fully capitalized. Close your legs on public transit. Oh my God. That's a good one. This is why I now, even though I'm a bit too heavy to really cross my legs in the sort of feminine way that Justin Trudeau does, I think that that's the model of a man, sort of androgynous, unclear whether he's male or female, crosses his legs, so progressive, so feminine. Let's move on to number 14. Oh yes. Do you love fiery Latina women, strong black women, mysterious Asian women? Stop. Pick up a book on decolonial feminism. Read. Okay, fair enough. Let's go on to number 18. Examine the way you talk about women you're attracted to. Fat women, old women, queer, trans, and powerful women are not your guilty crush. This, by the way, is what I call all roads lead to you being a Nazi. If you're attracted to overweight women, then you are fetishizing their fatness. That's bad. If you're unattracted to overweight women, if you say, look, I don't like overweight women, then you are a fattist. So if you love fat women, you're horrible. If you don't love fat women, you're horrible. See how the game works? Isn't it fun? If you love black women because you love their body types, you love darker skin, right? So if you instantiate a personal sexual preference such that you love black women, then you are fetishizing the black body. That's racist, you KKK person. If you don't like black women, you say, you know what, I really like the phenotypes of Asian women, well, then you're a racist. So you like black women, you're a racist. You don't like black women, you're a racist. Got it? Next. Oh yes, number 20. Share writing by women. Don't paraphrase their work in your own Facebook post to show us all how smart or woke you are. I guarantee the women said it better in the first place. Women says something, man says something, we can pretty much presume that the women said it better. Number 21 is a good one. Buy sanitary pads and tampons and donate them to a homeless shelter. Just do it. Okay. Number 22. This is a very good one. Very, very good one. How much of what you are watching, reading, listening to was made by women? Gender balance your bookcase. Which brings me, by the way, yesterday, you might have seen me tweet out several tweets to David Byrne, the lead singer of the Talking Heads, because he apologized for the fact that on his most recent album, he did not collaborate with any women. So there you go. If you do anything, you have co-authors, they should be gender balanced. If you have two sexual experiences over the next year, gender balance. Everything should be gender balance. And now, of course, it complicates it a bit more now because we have now 873 genders. So if you were only going to have sex with a man and a woman in the given year, well, you need to become a lot more promiscuous because you need to hit all of the 873 recognized genders. So it's going to be pretty busy. All right, next, number 23. Feeling proud of your balanced bookcase? Are there women of color there? Trans? Queer and disabled women? Poor women? Always make sure you're being intersectional. For a moment now, let me just paraphrase this. When you're making choices of what books to read, use intersectionality. So, for example, if I study and I'm fascinated by, and well, my research area is evolutionary psychology and evolutionary consumption, I mean, it would be grossly phobic of me to simply choose books of actual pioneers of that field. What about trans voices in evolutionary psychology? What about trans, disabled, intersectional, Muslim, indigenous voices? They're not represented in Darwinian theory. It's simply unimaginable that human minds could be so parasitized. Number 26, if you read stories to a child, swap the genders. Yes, because there are no sex-specific evolutionary-based archetypes that are manifested in stories. So, for example, many of you know that in several of my books, I talk about cultural products being fossils of the human mind. If you want to study something about the universality of human nature, you could look at the cultural products that are produced to see in song lyrics, in movie themes, in television plot lines, in art and literature, in religious narratives, because they say something about our human nature. And I don't mean this in the Jungian archetype sense and so on. I mean it in a very Darwinian-based analysis of the production of cultural products. Well, that should no longer manifest itself in the way that it does. So we should have a very chaste, virginal prince who is seduced by an aggressive fire woman, whatever, tall neurosurgeon who's a woman. We have to reverse all of the antiquated sex-specific stereotypes. Number 27, watch women's sports and just call it sports. This is why I hereby will state that I will no longer watch FC Barcelona and Messi. I've spent way too much time focusing on male soccer. I will now only watch female soccer from now on, or at least I will keep track of the number of times that I watch male soccer versus female soccer, and then I will watch them equally, but maybe a bit more so to women. I'll sway it towards women, because whenever you have a competition between men and women, women are better. Next, number 36. Oh yes. This is the progressive stack in terms of speaking. Speaking less in meetings today to make space for your women colleagues to share their thoughts. If you're leading the meeting, make sure women are being heard as much as men. Just look at the infantilizing of women. I mean, how grotesque that is, right? So I'm sitting in a departmental meeting. I'll keep track of who wants to speak and whether they're transgendered or disabled transgendered or non-binary disabled other kin. And then depending on who has their hand up, I'll decide whether I should weigh in, because otherwise I should shut my big fat Jewish mouth so that a woman can speak. Definitely is in line with the I Have a Dream speech of Martin Luther King. Number 47, this is a good one. It's very to the point. It's succinct. It's pithy. Tell female colleagues what your salary is. Hey, Janet, I make $200,000. Have a good day. And I'm not saying that that's how much I make. Maybe I make more. Maybe I make less. I'll just let you know that we're not highly remunerated at my university, regrettably, in comparison to a comparable group of universities in North America. Number 53, refuse to speak on an all-male panel. So, for example, I was invited to be the plenary speaker at a Academic Freedom Society at Western University this upcoming May. It's only when I found out that the graduate student Lindsay Shepard was also going to speak that I agreed to speak. If Lindsay Shepard, for example, self-identifies as male, in which case I would be speaking there and the male Lindsay Shepard would be speaking there, then we'd be two males, I would have refused the invitation. But because she's a woman who, from what I know, she also identifies as woman, this is why I'm going to speak. Number 57, if you see women with their hands up, put yours down, you bigot. I added the you bigot. This can be taken as a metaphor for a lot of things. Think about it. I'm not really sure what it refers to, but okay. Number 64, never again comment on how long it takes a woman to get ready. And then this is This is all capitalized. We are trying to meet the ridiculous standards of a system you benefit from. Right. So women are beautifying themselves because the patriarchy told them. Just if you read the book by Naomi Wolf, The Beauty Myth, which I dismantle in my 2007 book, there is no such thing as beauty. The only reason that women beautify themselves is because this is the last refuge of the patriarchy to impose their mean beauty standards on women. So if a woman takes a long time to get ready, it's not because men and women have each evolved sex-specific strategies to impress the other sex. No, 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 no. That's biological Nazism. It's we're imposing this on them. And so if they take a long time to get ready to look beautiful, we've only got ourselves to blame. See how it works? Number 65, challenge the patriarchs in your religious group when they enable the oppression of women. Well, I don't know what they're talking about here, but at least what I do know is that it certainly wouldn't be in Islam, because Islam is a feminist religion. So whatever they're talking about here, I know for sure it's not Islam. Number 67, trust women's religious choices. Don't pretend to liberate them just so that you can criticize their beliefs. This, by the way, is exactly how Western feminists argue that the niqab and the burqa and the hijab are all liberatory. It's only because, or liberating, it's because, you're a Western sexist pig that you think that this is not liberating. Accept their choices. A woman whose identity is completely removed from the public space, what could be more feminist and empowering than that? All right, let's move on. Number 78. If you see a woman being followed or otherwise bothered by a stranger, stick around to make sure she's safe. Ooh, this is a tough one, because I also know through benevolent sexism. Remember, there are two types of sexism. There's the standard form of hostile sexism. By the way, what I'm saying now is actual feminist theory, academic feminist theory. There's also benevolent sexism. This is where you protect women. This is where you open the door to women. This is where you're extra kind to women. It's a benevolent form of sexism. So if a woman is being attacked and you go to save her, you could be accused of being benevolently sexist, because you're presuming that she needs your help. She needs the guy, the savior on the white horse to come and whisk her away from danger. And of course, if you save her, you're likely to use your toxic masculinity. So you really are in a bind. Do you turn away and let her be attacked, and at least you're not benevolently sexist and you don't let your oozing toxic masculinity take over? Or, as in this case, they're giving us the opposite prescription. We should intervene. So this is why it can get confusing. But then again, it's probably only confusing because I'm a man. I have a smaller brain. Not dumb enough. I'm not smart enough to understand this feminist psychology. Number 80. If you are a queer man, recognize that your sexuality doesn't exclude you from potential misogyny. So queer man, so you're born with a vagina, but you identify as male, so you could just as much be a patriarchal sexist pig. If you are a queer, number 81, if you are a queer man, recognize that your queer woman or non-binary friends may not feel comfortable in a male-dominated space, even if it's dominated by queer men. I need one of those computer science flowcharts from back in the day to sort of really go through that whole. If you are a queer man, recognize that your queer women or non-binary friends may not feel comfortable in a male-dominated space, even if it's dominated by queer men. Holy moly. Again, demonstrating that my simple little male brain doesn't understand all these intersexual nuances. Number 87, it is not cute to try to persuade a woman to have sex with. Ever, capitalize. At all, capitalize. Go home. Well, that puts an end to the seduction strategies of Italian men. Oops, that was a stereotype. I apologize. Off to Gulag 13 I go. Number 94, understand that not all women have periods or vaginas. I do understand that. I'm fully cognizant of the fact that many women have 9-inch penises. I don't buy into that whole heterosexist, cis-sexist idea. Women can have vaginas, women can have penises. That's not what determines whether you're male or female. I got it. Number 96, if a woman accidentally bleeds on you, and I'm not assuming a nosebleed here, try your absolute best to just keep your shit together. I don't think I could add anything funny here. And then number 98, and that will be the last one I'll mention, uplift young Black and Indigenous girls at every possible opportunities. No excuses. What about Armenian girls? What about Bosnian girls? What about Yazidi girls? I mean, they just went through a systematic campaign of mass rapes. Don't the Yazidis girls require any love? This radical feminism, this radical intersectionality, this postmodern gibberish, this identity politics is a cancer to the human spirit. It is a cancer to the dignity of the wholesome, the holistic nature of the individual. It is everything that is contrary to the classical liberal notion of uplifting every individual, irrespective of their identities and so on. All individuals are worthy of respect, of protection under the law, but no group rises above others in the game of victimology, poker, and oppression Olympics. Have a good day, everyone. I would have posted this, by the way, in my Psychology Today column, but I know that it wouldn't make it through the editors because I am satirizing some big-time sacred cows. There you go. Cheers.